Hi everybody. So I'm here with a video for you that's a little bit different. Usually, I come through, I have the collective reading and I'll share that and I'll give that to you. I hope it's not too dim. The natural light going on back there is really, really bright. So I had to turn the blinds down, and I have some candles over there underneath the sunlight to purify them. I got some new candles yesterday, and one of the ways you can cleanse anything that you purchase, sit it in the sunlight. So I sat it out there last night hoping it'll catch all the sunlight, and it's working. It looks wonderful, so I'm excited about that. Can't wait to start using my new candles tonight. So I'm doing this video for you, and I really consider it to be I guess I would say, culmination of everything that I've been thinking of, coming into contact with, considering through this Mars retrograde transit. Mars retrograde has been going on for quite a while now, longer if you include any pre-shadow period, but Mars goes direct tomorrow. And I woke up today and a few things just kind of came to me, but it was really driven by a reading I did for myself from my crystal deck. Now, I haven't used my crystal deck for any of the collective readings that I do. I find that deck to be very, very personal, and I prefer to use it for personal readings, individual one-to-one types of things, and certainly for myself. It's the reading that really grounds and centers me because it holds nothing back. It is straight to the point, very easy to understand, and I use this deck. Here it is. This is what it is, crystal deck. I use this deck to do basically checkpoints with myself, or to ask certain questions, when is this going to happen, or why isn't this happening? And when I do readings for myself, I don't usually do readings regarding love and romance anymore. When I first started reading, of course, I'm like, let me do this, let me see, what's happening, when am I gonna meet someone, all of that, because it's a fun thing to do. Like, most of the people who come through for readings, they want to know about money, they want to know about love, they want to know, just fortune types of things. And as you get deeper into the practice of reading, you start to understand that there are a lot of other things you can ask about. So, and if you keep reading about certain things related to money and love, it can drive you up the wall, because our little actions on a daily basis change the trajectory of our future, pretty much. So that's why when you do get a reading, it's basically telling you where you are right now. That's what I like doing, and where you could potentially be. But my focus is where you are right now and how you can make that better, or if you're just in a really good place right now. And that's the context of the readings that I do for myself and for others. So today, I did do a reading for myself along the lines of love and romance. Oh, hey, what do I need to do to attract the type of love that I'm looking for, that I can offer? What do I need to do? And this reading basically tells you, where you are, and that what's blocking you, what you need to do, and the end result of that. And when I did this reading for myself and I got some of these answers, it really... It resonated, because a lot of it I already knew. So that was cool for me. But I feel it's just so relevant for everybody else. So I want to take my reading and explain to you how I receive it. And I hope that it's helpful in any way, especially as we're coming to the end of this Mars retrograde. Now, it does go direct tomorrow. However, we will be in post-shadow until October 8th. So anything you have manifested during this time period, or anything you didn't get to, you may not get to it. But however, you might have had an influx of people coming back to make amends, people checking in on you, people just trying to gauge where you are in regards to them, you might be doing it to other people, reaching out to folks, clearing the air, because I have a strong feeling. And if you follow me on Facebook, or if you follow my business page also on Facebook, I said something along the lines of, we are tired of gray areas. We want to know where we stand with other people, and we want to make it known where we stand with them. And you might be feeling that pull to sort things out, to fix it, because you don't want to hold on to maybe grudges or anger, upset, or you just want to clear the air, or you just want to cut the fat. You want to let go of some things in your life that are not working for you. And that's perfect, because when you let go of things in your life that are not working for you, you make room for the things that do. That's the thing. We have to make room. I ran into my neighbor, and she was like loading up some stuff in her car. I think she was going to donate it. And she's like, yeah, you know, I have to get these things out. I have to make space. I said, yes, making space physically and energetically. You got to get the stuff out. This is why I kind of look like this right now, because I'm in here cleaning house and, you know, tossing some things away, which I need to do a lot more than I usually do. But it's important. We have to make space. Can't hold on to everything. Okay? So, all right. The significant card that I got for me in my reading about love and romantic love was this Chrysocolla card. Stands for self-love. Now, we know this. We hear this all the time. Oh, you gotta love yourself before anyone else can love you, etc., etc., etc. We hear it all the time. Do we really act in that way? No, we don't. And the reason why we don't act in that way is because we're unclear about what self-love is. And it's so funny because I had this new Facebook account for a year now. I finally got on this day on that account. So I'm like, oh, it's been a year, you know? And the message that came up was, do something, like something along the lines of do something good for yourself, but that doesn't mean it's an indulgent thing. And I feel like the concept of self-love, we feel like, oh, well, I love myself because I look nice. I make sure my hair is done or my nails. I get my shape ups, or I got the latest sneakers, or I go to the gym. Going to the gym, you know, that's excellent. But there are all these other things that we feel constitute as self-love, but we leave out other things like clearing up our emotional house, clearing up our mental house. You know, are we seeing a therapist? Are we analyzing ourselves? Are we having downtime? Are we having quiet time? Are we working toward a fulfillment of our purpose? Are we taking care of our spiritual house, or are we living in spiritual lack? All of those things constitute a piece of self-love. Are we accepting what we do not deserve? And even if we aren't, have we identified what we feel we deserve? And forget about deserving. Do we even know what we want? Do we sit down with ourselves and say, I want this, and I don't want that? And taking it a step further, when we're faced with situations, saying, wait, that's the thing I don't want. I'm not going to deal with that. Are we doing that? I don't know that we are. But know that that is a part of self-love. If you are feeling unhealthy in your mind, in your body, in your spirit, something is missing, your self-love is lacking. And you got to get to the bottom of what you can do to fix it. And the self-love bit of this, to me, that rings so deeply, is that if we don't exercise the appropriate self-love for ourselves, we are not going to attract the type of love that we really need deep down inside within our authentic selves. So that's not to say you can't be in a relationship. That's not to say you won't have love or love someone, but there are going to be parts of it that might be unhealthy for you. You will attract people who are going to feed the very thing you should not be or should not be doing until you stop doing those things. And that's why a lot of the times it's hard to do inner work while you're in a relationship with somebody else, because it's another layer of stuff to be able to work through when you really need to work on yourself. And sometimes that takes a lot of quiet time. And even for some of you who are doing all of the work like me, this self-love card came up and I was like, oh, hey, whoa, I'm doing the work. it doesn't mean you're not doing the work. It means you just have to keep doing it for a longer amount of time. It's like showing the universe, I'm committed to me. I'm committed to me, and I'm going to keep committing to me forever. It can't just be, all right. It's like when you want to lose weight, right? You have not been working out for the longest. Then you're like, I'm going to join the gym. And then you go to the gym for like 2 weeks and you're like, I didn't lose blah, blah, blah. I don't see any changes. Of course not. If you spent like 3 years being sedentary, you're not going to be able to go to the gym and in 2 weeks have your dream body. That's how I feel about this self-love bit. When you get to a place where you know what works for you and what's nourishing your soul, you got to do it for a while. You got to get into that groove. You got to commit to it. You got to show the universe that you were in there for the long haul. And then that's when things start falling into place and you start, feeling better, looking better, your energy is better, and then you'll start getting back what you're reflecting out. The other part of this card that really rang true for me, and it's not something that I have not seen before, but I don't know if I shared it with you. Part of the self-love card was a mention of magnanimity. And that means, forgiving, being loving, like just letting stuff go, like letting go of grudges, letting go of anything you're holding on to that others have done. That's important because the thing we have to understand is our desire for romantic love, our journey, our path to romantic love is not separated from everyday love for other people in our lives that we are not interested or romantically involved with. The greater world at large is connected. So if you have issues with your friendships, issues with your family, if you're not getting along, if there's friction, that can affect your capacity to attract romantic love as well. That's why this Mars retrograde period is a good time to make amends. Or people are going to reach out and make amends to you. Because when you have things you're holding against someone or they're holding things against you, that's going to block the flow. And we got to stay in the flow. It's going to block the flow of that kind of love. And that's where the forgiveness part comes in, the magnanimous part. And for me, that's been a tough, part for me sometimes too, because I tend to hold a lot in. I was always a person who other people held to a higher standard than they often held themselves. And that was kind of unfair. And I've had a past where I've totally had to let people go and do their own thing simply because I started feeling them infringing more on me and expecting more from me than they ever would have done for me. And sometimes when we realize that people won't do for us what we will do for them, it causes a lot of friction, and sometimes relationships may dissolve forever or for a temporary amount of time. But the key in this is it's not the blaming of the other person for what they didn't do. It's also taking accountability for you not knowing what you will and won't accept, or you knowing what you will and won't accept but still accepting it, which you really know you don't want. And we have to take accountability for that. And that's our role in some of the relationships that we have. So the magnanimous part of this is when someone comes back maybe from the past and they want to make amends and they want to make it better, embrace it. No one says you have to be all buddy-buddy or, but just let things go and be water under the bridge, soften. If you talk to people who know me well, they understand the level of rigidity that I had, but there was a reason for that. And spiritual transformation is understanding what is no longer your story in ways that you no longer have to be and changing, So I don't have to have all these guards up. I did work that I know that I'm going to be protected from things that have happened to me in the past. I know won't happen again. That level of protection. So I don't have to have guards up. And when people do come to me in sincerity, I don't have to be tit for tat or be like, well, before they did. Nope, it's fine, because guess what? It's not going to happen again. Because I know myself well enough. I protected myself in a certain type of way. I know everything's going to be fine. I know the signs. And that's the critical benefit of doing inner work, is that you get to a point where you will not endure certain things that you have in the past. Another important part about self-love is we have to be really mindful of the decisions we make. We have to be mindful of people's roles in our lives. I put up today, I was thinking about reason, season, lifetime. Not everything and everybody is in here for the long haul. And it's important to understand that. And we won't know who's in it for the long haul or not sometimes if we don't know where we stand within ourselves. If we don't know what we're looking for, if we are not clear on where we are trying to go, it's easy for us to just go out there and make the wrong decision. If you don't have guidelines, you can make the wrong decision. I have some guidelines on my mirror in my bedroom. They are because I'll forget too. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, let me go do this. And then I look at those guidelines and I'm like, oh, this is why I should not do that. You know, or I'll be like, well, why didn't I do that? Why don't I? Then I'm like, that's right. Okay. Guidelines help keep you in line. Hence, guideline. So get your guidelines in order. Stop making permanent decisions with temporary people. Now, granted, sometimes people are always meant to be temporary. Something came across my timeline about soulmates. Soulmates aren't necessarily forever. Soulmates are to teach you a lesson. Soulmates are to teach you how to properly love yourself so that you can effectively love others. Soulmate may not be forever. Now, maybe you are contracted to be with this soulmate because you both worked everything out. That's amazing. But I'm gonna be honest with you. A soulmate can help you transform and then you both part ways. But you can come out a better person once you let go of the past, look for the lesson in it, and don't give up on love. So if you have not been loving yourself appropriately for the long haul, you're going to be hard pressed to find the right relationship. And you can't get mad at the other person who didn't do you right in that relationship because you weren't doing yourself right. Remember that. You know, there is this quote, and I'm going to have to do some major paraphrasing because I didn't grab the book for me, but it's one of my favorite quotes from the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And it's basically like, you know, practice in all earnest, consistently, like something along those lines. You have to do it. That's what you have to apply to your tenets of self-love. You have to do this in all earnest, very, very consistently. And the last part that I have to mention that came up in my reading about it was, for me, and it can certainly be something different for you, but it's all related to the same thing. I pulled up a golden healer card, and it's about me growing as a healer and me offering healing to other people and doing what I need to do, which I know to be is my purpose. This is the other bit that's related to your journey for love, romantic love. If you are not serving your purpose, you might be hard pressed to get into the right relationship. I thought for a long time that until I really get deep into my purpose work, a relationship isn't going to pop up in my life. Because for me, part of that is it's going to take me away from what I know I need to be working on. It's going to be a distraction. I know exactly what it's going to be like when I get into a relationship. We're going to be doing all the things because I like doing all the things. We're going to be doing all this stuff, and I may not be doing some of my trainings or reading all of my books the way that I'm supposed to be. Like, I have to be so deep into my purpose work that I have the groove, that when someone comes into my life, that groove doesn't really get interrupted. So think about your purpose. Are you living it? Are you serving it? And even if you are serving your purpose, is your purpose trumping your ability to self-love yourself? I know that was redundant, but you know, self-loving, I'm using that as a verb. So self-loving yourself, because it can't just be all purpose, just like it can't be all self-love. If you are out here serving your purpose, but you are falling apart, you are depressed, you are unhealthy, you're not getting enough rest, you're not exercising, your purpose, it doesn't matter. You have to have a balance. You have to pour into yourself before you can pour into others. That is your power. You have to work on your energy. You have to sit with yourself first thing every morning. You first, then you can give. But if you were falling apart while you were serving your purpose, you are blocking a flow. So take some steps back and incorporate what you can do for you first